Hello and welcome to the second part of the Raycasting tutorial. The links to the first part and the source code are in the video description. Today we will add colors, wall textures and much faster way to display the output on the console. To do this we will need some functions that are specific to the Microsoft Windows, so that's why I'm using the Windows library. So if you want to code this for some other operating system, then you have to figure out a way to quickly display colored text yourself. So first, in addition to our character buffer, now we need an additional color buffer with identical size. Previously, we had two one-dimensional arrays that contained the information about the height and brightness of every wall column. Now we are adding third array that remembers the texture coordinate. Here we store the textures. The access to this array has to be pretty fast, so it's best to keep it one-dimensional. Here the textures are generated. I use a bunch of logic statements. Basically I divide the texture into several rows and into several columns. And if the columns appear at different positions in different rows, then we have a brick pattern. The next additions are at the end of the tracing function. Here I record the type of the wall, which is needed if you want multiple textures. Next we save the texture coordinate. If we recall how the tracing is done, at the point of intersection one of the coordinates is exactly on the grid, while the second one is some fraction. And that fractional part is exactly what we need to get the texture coordinate. The brightness calculation is also slightly changed, because now the character we want to draw will be taken from the texture and the brightness will be only a multiplier to this. Now we go into the drawing function and define the variable that specifies the color of the character to draw. The x-coordinate of the texture, so the number of columns we want to draw, is taken from the one-dimensional buffer we prepared in the tracing step, and the y-coordinate is scaled according to the wall height. Then we combine the two coordinates into one-dimensional number that points to the texture array. At the very end of the drawing function, where we save the character which we want to draw, we also save the color. And here is the new display function, which is Windows specific. At the very beginning we set our coordinates to the beginning of the window, and so every new frame will overdraw the last one. We don't need to manually clear the console, which would result in flickering. And here are controls. They are also Windows specific. For now we are just looking for the press of the escape key. We will add rest of the controls in the later part of the tutorial. Right now we will just manually move the player around. And finally, here is the main game loop, which continues until we press the escape key. The important part here is the use of the sleep function, otherwise everything happens too fast. Even with the sleep function we get somewhere around 200 frames per second. This is how the final result should look like. I hope that the tutorial is useful, and thanks for watching.